What's up, everybody? This is Zach with the Nerd Cave Network, and this is going to be part of our podcast segment of this week. You don't see Derek or Robbie in this video because we could not sit down and record, so I'm doing this on my own and everything because I'm not in this week's episode. So you still go listen to it. You know, it's not going to be as good, but you should still go listen to it. There were a few things that I saw today and yesterday, a few days ago, that I thought were pretty interesting to talk about if they don't talk about it in the episode. But the first one is Pokemon Yellow, and I think this is a few months old or something like that. But today I stumbled across it, and I was like, oh my god, Pokemon Yellow is getting a 3DS remake. And the reason why I'm so excited is that's the first Pokemon I played. I remember my grandmother getting me a Game Boy Color. It was lime green, the best color for a Game Boy Color, and getting me Pokemon Yellow. And I literally played Pokemon Yellow for probably over 600 hours. It was ridiculous. I would play nonstop. I went through so many AA batteries that Energizer and Duracell made tons of money on me, not just for my 360 controller, but because of Pokemon Yellow. And this is where I think my love of video games came from, was Pokemon. And I know that I'm not a huge Pokemon fan now, but Yellow was just awesome. There's been a few Gen 1 remakes. This is a Gen 1 game, Fire Red and Leaf Green back in 2004. But this Gen 1 will include all 719 Pokemon, but you have to beat the League and completing your Kanto Pokedex before the rest of them will be available. So it's kind of like the original game, and then after you finish the original game, the rest of the Pokemon will be available. So I think that's really cool. I know that having the newer Pokemon in the remake at the beginning would be a little weird. So I like that they're doing it that way. It will be available for the 3DS, the new 3DS, and the 2DS. So if you have any of those systems, you're good to go. And trust me, if you haven't played Pokemon Yellow because you aren't old enough, it was released in 1998. I was 8 years old when I played it, and so amazing. Get this. This is something that I will be playing nonstop when I have it in my hands. The other thing was, now I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and there's a huge thing in Game of Thrones called trial by combat, and it's not just from Game of Thrones; it's from several other places. It's actually happened in history and everything. But I thought that was pretty interesting. A Staten Island attorney is being sued for malpractice, and instead of going through the whole court case, he wants to go through trial by combat. And apparently, he's a big Game of Thrones fan. Now, trial by combat is not necessarily a thing we do in America at this point in time, so that's very interesting. So he's being sued for malpractice, and one of his statements is that that he shouldn't be sued. So he's trying to do it this way, and apparently there's no statute in America that is not supposed to happen. But he said this is not a lawsuit anymore. This is absurdity. So I'll give them an absurdity in kind. So I don't know how this is going to work out for him. If it works out the way the Red Viper and the Mountain happen, I don't think he's in for a good surprise. I think that it will be shut down. He will have to go through a regular court case and everything, but just that someone would want trial by combat, it's pretty cool. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be, the judge is going to say you have to go through a regular court case and everything. Last week, Gamescom went on. There was a lot of new things that came out of that. The Star Wars Battlefront video gameplay, the space combat. It looks so amazing. I even showed Amy, and she was like, "Wow, that looks really cool." So Star Wars is looking great. the announcement of Halo Wars 2 was kind of a surprise for me. I didn't think that I would ever get that. I really enjoyed Halo Wars because I'm an RTS kind of guy. I'm hoping that it'll be something new and fresh. I I think the game got kind of stale closer to the end of the game, but that was really cool. Quantum Break though, kind of a letdown from what I've seen and what I've read. That it's sitting on old types of gameplay with time, manipulation and everything, and that it doesn't feel right, and that there are 20-minute episodes, like TV episodes at the end of it, where you can choose to like hardline or PR, which hardline is like the bad guy choice, where you go and like if this woman saw you kill somebody or whatever, you would go kill her, and the PR would be you threaten her family. See, neither one of them are good, but she's still alive, and she keeps affecting the story. Now this is Remedy. Remedy made Max Payne, Alan Wake. Alan Wake and Max Payne also had episodes, like TV episodes, in the game, but they were on the side. They weren't something that stopped the game, that made you watch this, put down the controller. It was something, if you wanted to watch it, you could sit there and do that, but it was something that you could walk away from and continue the game. Alan Wake, I wish they would make a new one of that. That game was so fun. It's had such a different mechanic with the flashlight. If you haven't played it, then if it comes to the Xbox One, if you don't have it already on your 360, if you have a 360, go play it. It's great. But Remedy, I think they have enough time to fix Quantum Break. There's some platforming things that don't really work that well from what I've seen and what I've read. So don't get your hopes up on this because it's not going to probably work out, to be honest. Another thing is that Halo 5 is actually rated teen. And I read on this yesterday that, most of the games have been rated, all the Halo games have been rated M, I think, except for Halo Wars and Spartan Assault, which was the game with the thumbsticks. It was just kind of an arcade type game. But this will be the first one, and from what I've seen is Microsoft didn't say, oh guys, you've got to pull back the violence, or you've got to make it less vulgar in places. It's actually kind of like how a movie in 1980s would get an R rating, and now that it would get a PG-13 rating. So it's just a kind of a sign of the times that things are being more accepted in video games, that blood and gore are kind of a commonplace in games, and that it's something that is not as looked upon like, oh, that's a bad thing. It's everything that you play pretty much, Call of Duty, Halo, Gears, it's all there. And I even read the ESRB rating, and it's pretty much word for word for the Halo 4 one. Halo 4. So it was, it was a comparison. So that's pretty interesting to me. And I watched some gameplay from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I'm liking that even after one of the execs put his foot in his mouth saying that it would be harder to animate a girl character in Assassin's Creed Unity, that they actually make a girl character a main part of the story. And that you can switch between the boy and the girl. I don't know what their names are. Sorry, but you can switch between both of those, and they play differently. The guy is going to be the more aggressive, the more melee and actually attacking people and everything, and she is more the stealth. And I thought one interesting mechanic is if you completely stop with her character, she goes invisible. No one can see her until she moves. When you move, it breaks that camo. So it's called Chameleon, and that was really interesting. They've really revamped the Eagle Vision in this game, so you actually can plan out more when you're going to take down a target. There's more. There's different ways you can go about it. That's a little bit more explained. Unity tried to do that, but they didn't explain how you're supposed to go about it. How do you get the key from this guy, or you do this or whatever. It didn't really explain it. It just it was like an organic thing that you were supposed to try to find out. This time they're kind of guiding you a little bit, saying, okay, well, here are these places, And then there are some other ones where you could use some tunnels and that sort of thing. So that was interesting that came out of Gamescom. If you want to listen to the Nerd Cave podcast, make sure you go to you can go to the Nerd Cave Network and listen to it on our website, or you can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. Every week we have an episode that comes out, and every week it's worth listening to. If you want to listen, in the links below, I'll have the iTunes and the Stitcher one. We're working on getting on SoundCloud, so that'll help bridge the gap a little bit more between Android and iPhone. Guys, make sure you go and subscribe to our podcast. We work really hard on our podcast every week, and that's a big thing, along with our YouTube channel. And speaking of our YouTube channel, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click it down there. You can, if you want to right now, you can watch our Let's Play from this week, which was a really cool one called Rocket League. And if you haven't watched that, then go ahead and do that. Of course, last week's episode of the Nerd Cave podcast. And our top 5 this week will be top 5 Star Wars movies. Yes, that's right, top 5. So we're going to be cutting out one of the Star Wars movies. But make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think of all the subjects that I've talked about today. Would you, if you were a lawyer, would you want to go Tribal Combat? I think that's pretty cool. And of course, the awesome remake of Pokemon Yellow. I can't wait for that. But guys, thank you for watching. This has been Zach. Have a week.